Thank you for joining us here at One Kingdom Worldwide as we share the greatest love story ever told in support of the God-led life. Welcome to Section 1, Essential Scriptural Context that has been lost down through the ages. In the last episode, we talked about how we all have works that God laid out for us before time began. How following Him into those works will lead us into the best life we could possibly live. That you don't have to do huge works like Moses or Jesus or the Apostle Paul to be great in the eyes of God. And that all you need to do is have your heart be after the Father's, your desire to be hearing His voice as you are taught and trained by Jesus, and endeavor to do all of His will according to the leading of the Holy Spirit. His yoke is truly easy. His burden is light. Summarizing, if you desire to learn how to live a life pleasing to God, if you will grow in your relationship with Him and your ability to know His voice and follow, if you say and do what He has for you, while you see what the Father is doing and do likewise, you will be great in the eyes of God. Is that religion? Let's talk about that word religion. Do you know that it didn't show up in English until around 1200 AD? Just as the words spaceship, molecule, and artificial intelligence have only recently showed up, religion showed up then as an evolution of the word religious. The Hebrews did not have the word religion in their language. Religion is a noun. It didn't show up until we had divided ourselves into so many belief systems after Jesus that we needed a name for them as a group. Religions. The Hebrew people did not have a word for religion. However, they did have a word for religious. The Hebrew word meaning religious in Jesus' day meant observant, conscientious, and strictly adhering to a set of beliefs. For a Sadducee, a religious Jew was a Jew who observed the rules in the Torah, the first 5 books in our Old Testament, and who did not neglect them. For a Pharisee, a religious Jew was a Jew who observed the rules in the entire Old Testament, the Tanakh, and did not neglect them. An irreligious Jew neglected these. They were not strictly observant or strictly adhering to what God had described in what we call the Old Testament. And don't forget that the Sadducees limited what these beliefs should be to just the Torah, the first 5 books of our Old Testament, while the Pharisees prescribed hundreds of additional laws that Jesus identified as not coming from God. God had spoken, but as you can see, men revised what He had said and prescribed accordingly to suit their personal purposes. The word prescribed says all we need to know. Are your beliefs prescribed by God or by men? What are your ways? In a way, it could be said that we are all religious because we all tend to strictly adhere to what we individually believe, what has become our way of life. For example, I strictly adhere to coffee. I can't remember the last time I didn't have a cup of coffee in the morning. I drink coffee in the morning religiously. What are you religious about? What are your ways? Good and bad. You remember that after Jesus' resurrection, His Talmudim were called followers of the way. That is, the way to live a life pleasing to God as prescribed by Jesus. People of the way were following in the way to live that Jesus taught, in relationship with God. Hearts after the Father, taught and trained by Jesus, and led by the Spirit of the living God to do the Father's will. The Hebrew people had no word for religion, yet it shows up at least 5 times in our Bibles. We need to see religion and think religious. Otherwise, we just might think we need to select from one of the religions of this world. And in James 1, using their Hebrew word for religious, that equals strict adherence, we may substitute strict adherence wherever the word religion is used. That would make it more accurate. Therefore, it says, if anyone thinks he is strictly adhering and does not bridle his tongue, but deceives his heart, this person's supposed strict adherence is worthless. Strict adherence that is pure and undefiled before God the Father is this: to visit orphans and widows in their affliction and to keep oneself unstained from the world. Let me repeat that. If anyone thinks he is strictly adhering and does not bridle his tongue, but deceives his heart, this person's supposed strict adherence is worthless. Strict adherence that is pure and undefiled before God the Father is this: to visit orphans and widows in their affliction and to keep oneself unstained from the world. Pure and undefiled before God the Father, as followers of the way to live a life pleasing to God, as Jesus so simply described. So whatever you do, don't follow me. My books and videos are simply trying to awaken you, that you might tell the difference between being a follower of the way, that is, Jesus who taught us the way, to live a life pleasing to God, or being a follower of some way of this world, like Democrats, Republicans, Pharisees, Sadducees, Hindus, Buddhists, Muslims, Jews, or one of the 250 versions of Christianity. They all complicate life, but Jesus came and simplified it. If the church you attend is helping you to understand how to be a true follower of the way, be sure to keep going. Otherwise, please don't. If you align yourself with people who have decided that the fine points of our differences are more important than the great foundational truths about which we can agree, then you will have become one of the divisive. Because people who are followers of the way are humble and merciful peacemakers. As I traveled the world and met people of all the various religions, I came to know this. We all agree that if you live your life the way that Jesus said to live, your life will be better. Whether you believe he was a great prophet, a great teacher, or the Son of God himself, that is something upon which all religions agree. If you will live life the way that Jesus said to live, your life will be better. It's okay to agree to disagree about things, and it's important to consider others' views, but keeping the main thing, quality discussive relationships are more important than division. It's all about love or not love, instead of who's right. Have a great day in the presence of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Live and love in the ways of God himself, who will teach you and train you and lead you and guide you as he does his loving works in you. See you next time.